Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? Kevin here, coming back at you with another video. So this is John's bike. He brought this thing up from Rhode Island and asked me to go through it. He's a fellow subscriber and he's also in one of the forums that I belong to. So anyway, he asked me to go through this bike top to bottom. The weather's been really crappy, and today it's going to get crappy later on. So we're going to take some time and get some stuff done to this bike while we can. We're going to be basically dodging raindrops, if you will, with these bike builds. So it's kind of a messed up thing, but we're just going to roll with it. So anyway, he asked me to go over this bike top to bottom, left to right, the whole entire shooting match. So we want to take the time and really look at this bike really well. So I've noticed off the bat there's a few things. I've noticed that the adjuster for the brakes is wound almost all the way in, telling me that the rear brakes are shot. I noticed that the rear helmet holder is bent, so that's bent. We got to straighten that out. So when we do the tire, we're going to use the tire off of this parts bike, because that is a almost brand new tire. It's still got the little knobbies on it. But this brake system, you can see in the back here, is not all the way out, indicating that that is a decent brake system, but it's on the wrong side and just need to be flipped over. We'll show you guys all that. So this is the parts bike right here that he brought up with the bike. So we're going to be robbing many parts off this bike to fit onto the other bike, and basically making 2 into 1, as I said in that last video. Okay, so this bike also has a fuel leak. So what we're going to do in this video today is we're going to straighten out a couple of things. We're going to address that little helmet lock. We're going to get that straightened out. I know it's minute. It's a petty little thing, but that bothers me. We're going to adjust some things up on this thing. I mean, you can see his lights are all wonky-eyed and they're not in the right position. So we're going to do some stuff like that on the video today, and we're going to get that carburetor ripped off. And of course, we're just going to go wherever this thing takes us. So he brought up the side cover for that part of the, what do you call it, the side cover for the engine. So let's just get crack-a-lacking. So first off, let me say thank you guys to all my new subscribers. And I hope you guys find my videos informational and educational. We're a teaching channel, is what we do. We teach repairs. And we do things correctly. No shortcuts. There are a lot of tips and tricks on the channel. So do me a favor, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon for the notifications. I'm going to show you guys a little trick here in a second. Very important to get these things out there, you know. Okay. So on a dirt bike or any type of off-road, you want these slightly twisted up so people can see you coming. And also, there is a proper adjustment for these. And it's very important that you know this. These lights have a tendency to dent fuel tanks when they're turned all the way in. So when you turn your bike all the way in, handlebar to lock, meaning it can't go any further, you want to be able to have at least a finger's worth the space in between your marker light, because if you do not, you will dent that tank in the event you have to turn the wheel very fast and very hard, or you'll break your light off. I have a lot of tanks with a lot of little dents on them because of that. So it's a very good thing. After a while, you'll learn where to put them and where they should be. So just a little tip when you're adjusting your lights, because you can put these lights anywhere on the bar you want, anywhere, as high up as you want, as low, anywhere up in from here to here. So you got like a 3-inch window. So higher the better, and for better visibility. And always loosen up both sides. You want to make sure you loosen up both sides of your lights. This one here is already loose, because you don't want to break the plastics. Okay. The wrench I'm using today, and I'm not sponsored by any of the tools that I use, but this is a gear wrench right here, and it's a flexible head ratchet wrench. I got these in Craftsman and in, what do you call it there, Husky, like you find at Lowe's or Home Depot. So bring that up, a little bit. Make sure you get it right where you want. I kind of like to have them at the same exact location. I'm very picky like that. It's like OCD, you know? OCD. I can't explain it, you know? It's just one of those things. I like it to be proper, perfect, the best to its ability, quality craftsmanship, you know? Snug them, don't monkey tighten them. They are on rubber mounts, so just double check them. And then of course turn it to lock. It's a lock, it ain't gonna rub, ain't gonna hit. And there's a jam nut in there we can tighten up at a different time. Okay, we got that part squared. Okay, for the next crazy thing is this handle is all wonky. Look at the wonky handle. Okay, that took a digger, huh? It's all bent down. Let me go get some tools. Okay, so for this one right here, first thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust this thing up. So we're going to loosen this up, put it back to where it needs to be, and it should be at the same level as the other one. Right, so there. Tighten it up. Okay. Move the rubber slide back. Whoa, this clutch is way out of adjustment. Whoa, okay. That is a problem which we will address. So might need to be replace the clutch. Luckily, we have that. He supplied me with a whole parts engine that I can rob a part off of. And I believe the other one has a good clutch. But I also have a new clutch, so we might end up throwing a new clutch in it. This is your locking nut right here. There's a bolt with a nut. You want to loosen up the nut first. Never try taking this off the top part because it'll snap it. Can't tell you how many of these I used to break trying to take them off. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Or you forget. You haven't done them in a while. It's these little small things on the bikes that matter. When you end up with a lot of small issues on a bike, you kind of like, oh, you know, I gotta replace this, and then you kind of lose interest in the bike, you know. And it's like, what the heck is going on? You know, why do I gotta replace all this stuff all of a sudden? You know, oh, I see that guy's bike is nice and my bike looks like crap, or you know, I gotta do all these little repairs to it, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's just a good idea to take a pad of paper, walk around your bike, write down all that's wrong with it, you know? Write down all that's wrong with it. This one's in there. And then go online, come up with a budget for your bike, and go from there. Now these bikes right here, this is a 2000. This bike's probably worth about $1,200 being a 2000, you know? So realistically, all the small stuff, you could say, you know, 1,200, not 12,000, $1,200. It's a $1,200 bike, not 12,000. I don't know what the heck I was talking about there for a minute. You know, you got to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to dump this much money into it. Sometimes it's better just to find a parts bike, you know, and take all the parts off like he did. When you're putting these together too, you get that little stud right there up, you hit it with some oil. Makes it a little easier and it lubricates it. And the lube I'm using is chain and cable lube, and this stuff stays on there, works pretty good. Get it in. There we go. All right. Alright, so I tightened it down. I'm not going to make you guys watch me tighten down one bolt. Anyway, see how it's all loosey-goosey? We want that because this is going to need a clutch adjustment after. So we're going to leave that like that. We're going to slide the sleeve up to it, the protector. These things are nice. What are they? What do they do? What's your daddy? What's he do? Okay, so these right here, these rubber boots, they go over this and they stop the mud and dirt from getting into your cable, the rain, and all that type of stuff. So these, we also call these condoms. Yeah, I said it. But they come in handy for protection on the cables. And I highly recommend them on all your bikes. In fact, I have to replace a couple on mine. But nevertheless, it's all good. Alright, so we get that part on there. We got the lights adjusted on the front. We're just going to keep going. Since we're in the front, we're going to do a couple more things. This part you guys are going to probably like. This part you guys, I'm sorry the dump road's open, so everybody's going down it. Okay, so next part we're going to use some brake cleaner on there. Wipe it down really good. Okay. Good. Looks sharp. Okay, see how nice that looks right now? It's gonna look better than that. That right there. There's still a lot of fade on it. What we're gonna do. I'm using a heat gun. Drill Master from Harbor Freight. And I got it on high, and I'm just going back and forth. Okay, so now you can see how much better it came out after I heated it up. But there's still a lot of cracks, not cracks, but blemishes in it. So what I'm using is 3M 1500 grit sandpaper, wet dry. So you get your bucket of water, put this in here. And it literally erases a lot of those dark spots. You're not going to get them all out, but you'll definitely remove a lot of them. And scuffs and blemishes you can take out with this. There's a lot of elbow grease, but once you get a lot of it removed, it's going to really bring back the plastic. And then of course hit it one more time with the heat gun, and then it will look like brand new. But we're not going to keep doing that right now. I'm going to get back to this off camera and keep doing it, and it's going to look like that bottom green lip. Okay, and I'll show you guys that in the next video. See if I can do a little spot right here real quick for you. You can literally, if you hold it too much in one spot, you'll see the plastic start to melt. So be careful. But it's literally like painting. See how it's starting to change? Kind of hard with the lighting out here, but it literally is looking better. Here's one spot for you. And there you go. There you have it. Look how nice that looks, guys. I'll put you right back on the spot. So I just did this spot right here. You can see how nice it looks compared to the rest of the faded part. So easy enough to fix the plastics. We're going to do that whole entire fender. I got to pressure wash the bike as well after we fix that front tire there. So alright, so I will finish that up off screen and get that part done right there. So we're going to keep moving on, and let's go back onto the side over here, because I got to do the back fender too. So I'm going to do both of the fenders at the same time. Alright, so now we're on this side right here, and you can see that the couple of things on this side right here is the fuel line is all taped up, and the petcock is broken right off. Now, he gave me a tank that was all rotted out. The tank was junk, but it had a really good petcock on it, so I robbed that off the tank. There's a filter screen right there. Actually, this is a perfect example, and I'm going to take a moment to show you guys this. Excuse me, that is your filter screen. Okay, so you don't need an inline filter. So this right here is your filter screen, and then this is your reserve filter. Sometimes if you have bad flow coming out of this petcock, it's either that screen or that screen. Okay, so this part right here is wide open into the fuel. It gets filtered through that screen right there. This one right here is shallow and gets filtered through that screen itself. Okay, so that's a brand new petcock. We're going to use this on this bike. I know I'm jumping around a lot on the video, guys. I'm sorry. I get carried away with certain things, and like that lock right there is driving me nuts, being crooked like that. Nice. That's how it should be, nice and straight. That was just driving me nuts. I'm very picky when it comes to stuff like that. Okay, so let's get back on. We got to pull that fuel tank off, flip this thing up, and take a fuel tank sample. I'm going to show you guys what that's all about in a minute. A lot of people bring bikes to me, and the reason why is because I'm very thorough in what I do. And a fuel tank sample, a fuel sample, will really tell you what's going on with the condition of the fuel, what was ran through the carburetor. It's a clue to let you know what's going on. Kind of like when you pull a spark plug and the spark plug's all gray, well then you know you have metal transfer, and then you can either call the customer and say, hey, listen, you got metal in your thing, your motor's smoked. This right here lets me know if there was water in the fuel, and that right there can lead to cylinder damage, piston cylinder damage, and that right there is very bad. So because I'm not going to use that fuel line because it's all taped up, it's the wrong size anyway, we're just going to cut it right clear off. Oh yeah, so you jump. Look at that, huh? Oh yeah, that's bad. Okay, just going to get that fuel line right off there. Oh boy, okay. I'm going to put this into the fuel, into a clear cup, and see if I can crank this thing on. I'm not getting any fuel out of it. Okay, so I guess we're not getting fuel simple that way. Alright, so the petcock could be clogged up completely or just shot, you know, so who knows what the case may be with it. Let's get that fuel tank off to get that petcock ripped off. Then we're going to do the what do you call it, the fuel sample the old-fashioned way. Remember one thing, when you guys are working on these bikes, every single thing you do is a clue, okay? And as I tell you guys, take a fuel sample, even if it's a few drops. If it's a few drops, you might be able to see if there's a whatchamacallit, if you might be able to see if there's water in there. That's really what you're looking for, water or old contaminated fuel, you know. Is really what you're looking for. So we're going to pull that apart. We're going to take a clean cup and we're going to take a fuel sample and find out what's going on. Okay, so I pulled the tank off and now we're going to take that petcock off. You can see how it's all electrical tape, the fuel hose. It's just that the fuel hose is deteriorating. Now this type of fuel hose is a regular black 1/4 inch hose. These hoses are bad because what happens is they deteriorate and the black liner from the inside of the fuel line gets into your carburetor. These are very, very bad fuel lines. The fuel line you want to be using is for dirt bikes. It's a clear or a off-color fuel line. It's a 5mm line. You want to make sure you use those lines. Okay, right off the bat, I noticed another problem. This thing is missing the inner fuel, the fuel filter. These are very critical unless you're running a line filter, then it doesn't matter. But if you're not running a line filter, you need to have that inlet filter. So I bet you when I pull that carburetor off, there's going to be debris in there. Okay, you can see how deteriorated the fuel line is. Look at how bad that is. Okay, so that's the first part of the diagnostics right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fuel line, the fuel tank, and I'm going to dump it into that cup the best I can. Alright? I can hear some fuel in there, so let's see if we can get some of that out. Now, you let it sit and calm down, okay? You're looking for a foggy, separated, so you have like a layer of fuel and a layer of water. So you want to see if there's any of those things happen. I'm going to flip you up like this. Okay, so the fuel that's in there doesn't look bad at all. What I'm looking for at the bottom of this thing, okay? So I'm looking for at the bottom, I'm looking for any soot, any sediment, anything floating in it. I'm looking for bubbles of water. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some water in this so you guys can see what it looks like if you had water in your fuel. Alright, so here it is right here. You can see how the water is at the bottom and the fuel is at the top. So your petcock would be down here on your tank, so water would go through your carburetor first before the fuel ever did. Unless that little tube was up high enough to get past it. Okay, so now we're going to put the petcock on. Make sure you get your O-ring on there. You do not need any silicone. Just make sure it's nice and clean. We're going to clean that up a little bit because see how it's got a little bit of debris on it. I like it nice and clean. Okay, so now we got the petcock all cleaned up. Looks nice and pretty. And make sure your bolts have these little nylon washers because those are also seals. Put that on backwards. I put it on backwards. Okay, so now we got it on the right direction. Now the other part we have to do is it's missing the bowl, okay, which is at the bottom of this one. So we had a bowl on the end of this one, and there was none on that one. So we're going to take the bowl off this and inspect it. We'll do this one right on film. 10mm. They should only be snug, not crazy tight. There should be an O-ring and a filter in here. You want to tip it up like this so any of the sediment goes into the bowl. Look at the debris in that. See, there's the filter. There's the whatchamacallit there, the gasket right inside there. And you can see all the debris inside this right here that went into the carburetor. So that debris went into the carburetor. Okay? Right there. Actually, it didn't go into the carburetor. It prevented it from going in because of that fuel filter. Sorry, my bad. I'm all over the place today, ain't I, guys? So this screen prevented all that from going into the carburetor. But you can see how clogged up the filter screen is. So the way it works is these two tubes, or one of them, goes into that tube right there. Okay, the other tube exits just above it. Okay, so you got this tall filter tube right here, filler tube, goes through directly through that hole. The other one goes up into that cavity, which is just above it, right up in this area right here. And all this right here is the debris from that. So there's a lot of crap that went into this carburetor. Now some stuff might have went past it. These filters are measured in what they call microns. Okay, and there we go. Very fuzzy. Here we go. Oh, you know why I think it's focusing out like that? Hold on, here we go. I don't know why it's focusing out like that. But anyway, the debris in there is from the tank. Filled up inside here. And it's plugging it off, and that's probably why I had no fuel coming out of here. I'm going to clean that out. I'll be right back. Alright, and there we have a nice clean fuel bowl. Right there. I already put the gasket inside here. And just snug it just like that. Well guys, that's what I got for you for today. Hopefully you guys learned something. I'm going to call it a day for right now, and then we'll get back onto it. We're going to pull the carburetor off and do all kinds of crazy stuff on the next video. So we're going to just keep plugging away at it, and we'll go from there. Alright, I'm off. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. I'm out.